I'm just saying, everyone seems to love it. Uh, Joining us now from Little Village on Chicago's West Side, none other than Sentrock. I should get this right and say, "What's up, fool?"
What's
And
going on?
Big
What's up,
Bag
folks? You know who
Sentrock
it
in
is.
the
Yes, sir. You got
house.
it, bro. What's going on, Gabe? What's going on, man?
How you
Thank
doing?
you thank you so much for joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's, man. We are so honored that you are giving us your time. We are huge fans of your work all around Chicago. I pulled up this website. It's called geez, I had it up. Anyways, it was a site that had like collected all your work around the country, and they had marked up 38 different places your work is publicly displayed. I think it was like Tennessee, obviously your hometown of Phoenix, Arizona, here in
Right.
Chicago, I think Ohio you're in. I don't know. I think it was like about 6 or 7 different states that your work is now being featured in.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that existed. That's good to know that's out there.
I had this up, and then I think my son collapsed my browser, so that's what happened. I'm gonna blame the kids.
No, that's cool to know. That's cool.
I thought I kept it up, but I don't have it. But it is a real thing. But anyways, so your work is spread across the country. Let's start there because your iconic bird mask. You describe it as being a description of freedom, right? So do you feel like by your work being spread across all these different parts of the country that you yourself are promoting freedom to those who witness it and experience it?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like it started off me trying to speak to a very specific community, like the young Latinx kids who grew up in the hood. But now it's proved that anybody can relate to the message, whether it's outside of the hood, the suburbs, colleges, and like you said, different cities, different states. So it's pretty cool to see that and share that message.
Yeah, exactly. And you yourself, you worked with students. You were an art teacher at Foreman High School for an after-school program. So you yourself have that one-on-one engagement and experience. How did
Matt,
that?
you did your Google history research, huh?
He's all up in your life, huh? He gets like
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I didn't. Listen, I read a lot. There's no reason for us to cover ground that's been covered.
Right.
Let's go to some
Definitely.
places that haven't been covered.
Definitely.
But how did that experience working with students help like ignite the flame of you yourself now creating a gallery of yourself of your own? And there's all these moments where you are working with community organizations in Little Village, working with students, giving back. What was that? Was that the moment that you were like, I really need to forward this art, forward my skills, teach others to grow this culture and this art through working with students?
Well, the way I got into art was somebody coming to my school and introducing me to creating murals and using my voice, visually. So it was pretty natural as a kid, just always keeping that cycle going. Like, all right,
Yeah.
let me go visit schools, let me visit students, and also learning that, there's no one way to go about sharing your work. All these students have their own stories and how they want to create. And, whatever I can expose them to, whatever type of direction and art they want to go, that I feel like that's my biggest thing, is just exposing them to different channels of using their voice.
Yeah, exactly. And my day job does a little bit of work with not me directly, but I work with others who do out of school time programming before and after the bell. So we definitely recognize the importance of these programs, these enrichment activities.
Right.
Give students who don't get because of budget cuts. Usually, art and music are the first things to always go. So to fill in those gaps and those needs for our students, to give them that opportunity to engage with art and culture. So when people like you yourself get into that space, you're definitely filling a void that sometimes our public education system doesn't always consider priority.
For sure. I started my little podcast, and I had a principal on there, and that's her main thing. She was talking about, that she's finding ways that she can get the community involved with her school, because there's areas just that system isn't built to, enhance these students' lives. So she has to go out and seek the community and bring them in to do that. Whether it's
and
arts
we
or
do
any, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do a lot of that too with a lot of vendors and outside Beverly Arts or either Urban Gateways. They're really great with doing a lot of that artwork as well. What I found was kind of funny is that here I thought that you were born and raised in Chicago, but it's Phoenix, right? Arizona?
Born and raised West Phoenix, yep. I've been
And
here
then
for about 10 years.
Then you find yourself on Chicago's west side. Do you just not like to live on any other part of the state?
Bro, I don't know what it is. It's just it just lures me in, I feel like I'm at home. If it's the west side, I'm at home. So
what are I've been to Phoenix. I was there, I'm gonna say 3-4 years ago, I think 2016.
I promise you didn't go to the west side.
I know I was in the convention area. Here's what I did though. Did do though, right? I was the only one. I went with a team of coworkers. We were there for a community school conference, and I had seen on one of those food shows, like a man versus food type show, right?
Okay.
And I don't remember the name of the sandwich place, but anyways, I hopped in an Uber and went somewhere I'd never been before, and it was outside of the downtown area, outside of the monorail, and I went to go grab this sandwich, and it was like off like a highway. It was like really obscure, and just like drop you off, and there was like a laundromat, and this if I find out the name of this sandwich, I'll let you know, but I forget. Anyways, but I don't know if that's the west side or not, but there was nothing else there.
Man, if it wasn't Mexican food, then it probably wasn't the west side.
No, it wasn't Mexican food, but there was some avocados on there, so I don't know if that matters.
Yeah.
But what are some of the because we obviously know that Arizona has a fledgling Hispanic Mexican population, and Chicago does as well. Are there some similarities that you've noticed in living with those experiences there and here living in Chicago?
There's so much difference, to be honest. It's so much more diverse out here. Out there, it's like where I grew up was West Phoenix. It's very it's all Mexican neighborhood. Where I was at, maybe like 1% white, maybe like 10% black. The community I grew up in, so I wasn't really exposed to too much different, cultures, and so moving out here, people say it's a very segregated city, which it is, but in a way, take the negative part away from it, it's kind of beautiful because you have these cultures that come together, and then they get to preserve their identity, like Pilsen, Humboldt Park,
right,
Chinatown. In Phoenix, you don't got that. It's like it's not as that enriched with that culture like that. So that's one thing I appreciate out here.
How does that diversity inspire you? Because now you're experiencing, well, the last 10 years, right? So it's not new to you, but when you were first attending Columbia College and being introduced to the city, how did that help shape the way that you were evolving as an artist?
I would say it was just about being able to share my artwork, that people can appreciate it, I guess, from different walks of life, and then that it can share that visual narrative with other communities. I think that was probably the biggest thing, is just seeing the way it just the reachability of different communities.
Yeah. I also heard that your wife is a teacher in the public schools as well. How has her experience as a teacher give you additional insight into public education and what those fields are? Because you yourself are very outspoken about some of these policies, and you are starting to become more of a voice in those areas. And I think the podcast is going to amplify that. But like, what is that? What has the past year been like for you as a couple going through her challenges? Because I have a 11-year-old that's been doing remote learning for a year, and it's been the absolute worst year for everyone. So I can only imagine the challenges that she and you have experienced together through this.
Yeah, well, you're on that side, you're a parent, and then I'm on this side. as a husband to a teacher, and so I get to hear and I get to see firsthand the challenges that she faces and trying to connect with students. So I just think it's helped me like understand the challenges and just opportunities that the students need or even are missing out on, and how to connect with them. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just seeing it firsthand, seeing what she has to deal with and how to connect with these students. But yeah, this past year, I think it was tough for everybody, man. And I'm just glad, that people are starting to, get the vaccines. People are starting to feel more safe. People understand how to be out in public, and to be safe.
I thought I read that that you were kind of, I don't want to frame you as a troublemaker as a kid, but you're getting into some things, but art kind of helped you, elevate out of that I would say attitude, but that moment. Is that accurate?
That's pretty accurate. I mean, it's a little bit of both, because I got into art, which was the form of graffiti, which helped me in a way, but also got me into its own set of troubles and mischief.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think the biggest thing, even when I go to schools, it's like if I can help these students find their voice in some way, have some sort of outlet that they can use, because I think it's so dangerous for students to not have any identity or have anything that they can call their own. I think that's more troubling than getting into a little, mischief here and there. At least that's how I grew up,
No, you're absolutely right. I remember listening to Cartoon, out of California. I'm pretty sure
Mr. Cartoon.
Mr. Cartoon, absolutely. But he did a podcast, same thing, where like he was just doing these sketches and these drawings, and he landed on the set of colors, doing all this art design and the backdrop for the film, and then going to schools and teaching kids how to do T-shirts and spray. So like his form of giving back, and the same thing is like just like something to do to stay out of trouble. Like here's how you can use these skills as an outlet and also turn into an entrepreneur if you want to.
Right.
It's like I kind of feel like you're filling that lane as well and doing that work.
I try to, man. I'm trying to, figure out the business side of it, because I love creating, I love art, and then now I just got to learn the business side of it, and hopefully I can share that, with the students.
Yeah. One more thing before Sam has a really good question, but
he's been holding me back, man. He's been holding me back.
Is this a Bow Wow question?
No, it's okay. Yeah, let's get to the Bow Wow question though, Gabe. That's your question, man.
No, I do. My question to set your question up, Sam, is when people describe because they'll say like street art, right?
Right.
And it kind of feels, and I don't think that it's intended to be insulting or demeaning, but it definitely has some weight to it, and it feels like a less than opportunity to belittle work that's being publicly displayed or publicly viewed, and it's not in a glass case. What is your feeling or take on that? Like, is that are you trying to shape change the narrative of how people look at not just street art or art that is created on the side of a viaduct, but like it's just art?
For sure. I think for sure I'm trying to change the narrative, because it's so many there's a lot of dynamics to it, because you get some people, like I come from the graffiti background and the hood background, where they're like street art is seen as gentrified graffiti basically. Right. And then you get some people who are like, oh, that's street art, it's not the traditional like Mexican murals, it's not seen in that regard. So it's like there's two dynamics, and for me in the middle, at the end of the day, I just think like my work is public and it's for the people of the street. So that's why I hold on to that title, street art. I'm a street artist because that's what I do it for, people on the street. However people want to take that connotation, that's up to them. But I feel like I have my own meaning why I hold on to that title.
Absolutely.
I like what you said about community, and I want to circle back around to the podcast, because you have had some really interesting guests.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
there. You had the Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez was on there the other day, and the principal from CPS, but along with all types of really talented artists, people who do stitch work, that type of stuff. That seems to be like a theme with your stuff in general, is this community. So talk about what you're trying to do with the podcast and how you're trying to bring the community in to make it a group effort?
That's a good question. I don't know if I figured out exactly what I'm doing with it, or I just kind of like learning as I'm stumbling, tumbling through the process. And, at first I started doing it on my own, just interviewing friends who stopped by the studio, and then hired somebody to come and do my audio, and trying to, like I said, like my last guest was the alderman. Trying to get a little bit more, trying to get outside of my circle, my network of just artists and my friends. And I think, like I mentioned before, is I want to expose people from, like, let's say someone like me, I want to expose them to what can you do to become a principal? What can you do to become an alderman? Or like you mentioned Emma Stitch God, like, she lives off of her work. Like, who would have thought stitching would be this super dope thing in the hip hop culture? And it is, and I think I just having those conversations from one creative, me being an artist, taking on this role, to have a conversation with somebody as a politician or whatever, and ask questions from that perspective.
Yeah. I think it's amazing because, like, with especially with Emma, I've heard of her, but I didn't know her story. And then and I messaged you, like, just how excited she was, and you guys were just excited exchanging. Yeah. She's like, "Yo, my work is on the cover of Rolling
Stone." It's crazy.
And like, it's crazy, DM me, like, can I have this? He's like, yeah, like, and then ends up on the cover of Rolling Stone. It's like, I was like, it's just an amazing story of like someone who, and she was like, I didn't know what I was doing, like I was just doing it, and then she made a career out of it. It's just like crazy how her story is, but also I think it kind of aligns to what you're doing as just like being passionate about the work, and then I don't want to say like fame or monetary or anything like that follows. It's not like you're looking for it. It's just like it's just part of people recognizing the work that you do.
Right. I think it's all of that. Yeah, for sure. Like a little bit is like, let me find out the best way I can channel my art, but also what's the best way I can achieve success doing it. Because if I'm gonna keep doing this, I think too, like kids look at me if they're like, oh, if I go to school and I'm like, all right, I create art for a living, but I'm not that successful at it, why are they gonna want to listen to me? I want to give these kids like somebody like damn, like he's doing it. He's living off his art. He's living his dream. Like, all right, I can do that,
Exactly. I mean, that's our goal here, is to live off this show.
How's that working out for you guys?
Not great, man. The ship is sinking.
I appreciate you guys asking me because it's my first time using Twitch, and I think I like it. I've been watching some videos throughout the day, and it's pretty cool.
There's great potential for you on Twitch, man. Oh man, yeah. No, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it here. It's great. But what I wanted to ask about, one of your murals got painted over the other day, and I was just thinking about a bunch of artists I know, and some of whom would really take something like that personal. But like you had this real chill vibe about it, like sort of, say la vie. Right. How do you deal with that, man? That would infuriate me.
Man, it hurts, It's a little piece of your soul gets buffed out. But like I said, coming from the graffiti culture, I'll be lucky if I go the next morning and it was still up, So I kind of learned. I've learned, like, if it's up for the moment, now my perspective is now like, damn, people are paying me. I just did a big one off of the expressway. I'm like, yo, I'm getting paid to do these now, right off the freeway and everything. So for me, I feel like I found like a little cheat code, So when things get buffed, it hurts, but it's on to the next one.
Yeah. Just part of the graffiti game sometimes is like, gonna be haters.
As much as I would love for it to be permanent, in a way, it adds a little bit of you got to appreciate it because you don't know how long it's going to be there.
That's a great point too. Yeah, absolutely. You did a collaboration of the Mi Gente collection back in 2020, last year with Converse. How did that feel about having your own shoe?
Man, it was super dope to know, especially, coming from the West Coast, everybody has Chucks and it's so much a part of the fabric, the culture. It was pretty dope that they reached out to me and wanted to do something, and me putting my art on the side of shoe, and they, blasted it through their social media, on their website, everything. So it was pretty cool. It was like a sense of validation. Like, all right, I'm on the right track. I'm using my voice in the right way.
Yeah. Did that inspire you to start doing your own merch? Because now you're selling your own items with the bird. So was that, or did you already plan to start doing your merch before that happened?
Wherever I can put my art, man, I'll throw it on there, if it makes sense. But now I feel like, all right, now I know what the opportunities are out there to do with light Converse. So I'm actually a little bit more taking a step back to figure out how I can partner with more brands and, really make an impact with my merch.
Yeah, because I mean, you done. I saw you 2 years ago at the Chicago Bears rally in Logan Square, and you were doing work that day. I didn't bother you because I didn't.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
I didn't want to be that guy. But with the Bears, I know you've done stuff with the Bulls, with Converse. I know you've done a lot of partnerships with sports organizations in Chicago as well as other organizations. Is that always gratifying every time someone reaches out to you?
It's super gratifying because these organizations, they have such rich history, or they have such large fan bases, and then they take my idea, they put it out to all their fans, either they hate it or love it. But it's pretty validating to be a part of that, the history of that organization and their fan base and that sports team.
Absolutely.
I will say one of my favorite collabs is that Bulls hat that I did. I felt like, man, that one should have been, I don't know. I think a hat company should pick that up, that design.
Can you run it back yourself, or do like the Bulls own the rights to it or something now?
Man, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they might be open to it. But we'll see. Who knows when they're gonna have fans back in the arena.
Yeah,
soon, man. Soon. I hope
soon, man.
Sam, I know you wanted to ask something about NFTs.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of Twitter discourse, and I don't know necessarily if you know too much about it, but it seems like you can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody talking about NFTs and digital art. Do you have an eye on that? Is that something you're participating in actively? When can people expect the big bad Sentrock NFT, man?
When do you want to purchase a JPEG?
Yeah. Purchase the little gift.
People were hitting me up last year, months ago, like, keep an eye on this. As me being somewhat of a leader in the creative industry, people that were already a part of it were hitting me up last year and months ago, like, yo, look into this. And I looked into it, and to be honest, I don't know if it's for me. I feel like it's a great way for designers and digital creators to really take advantage and really get their moment. For me, it's very hard for me to get over the idea that I'm selling, a JPEG or something like that. But I think there is future to it. There's a lot of momentum right now. And, if you can get into it, if you can put your work on one of these, chain blocks and get it minted, I say go for it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You will definitely price us out from being able to purchase that. But
your stuff would be going for millions of Bitcoins.
I like in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm just not meant to be rich. That's all it is. Like, I'm just not meant to have money, I guess. So.
I hear that.
Because I just can't get my head over it.
Man, so the gallery also is new. Tell people where they can find that, or what's going on with the. How can people visit? Is it safe to visit? Are you guys welcoming visitors? What's the story with that?
If you're speaking about my studio, it's just a personal workspace. It's not really open to like a public type of thing. So it's more of like, people come by, show them my space and meet, whatever, but it's not really like open hours. I work closely, with a couple galleries out here, specifically like Vault Gallery in Pilsen. And I know they have no more hours, and I channel a lot of work through them. And they're doing, she's doing a lot of amazing work, partnering with a lot of women right now for Women's Month. And but yeah, for my space, it's just my workspace, man. But that doesn't stop people from randomly stopping by.
I saw the new hardwood floor that you guys were putting down, and like it looks amazing. So I would definitely probably need someone to come and do my basement like that. That'd be great.
Just let me know, man. I got you.
I don't know if you do drywall as well. We need some drywall as well.
Hey,
so.
I got you, man. We set up a wall. We're ready.
Man, thank you so much, Sentrock, for joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's and sharing with us. The new podcast is Sentrock Talks. It's out. I know I went to your site to listen to it today. Is it on the platforms, the Apples and the Spotify's of the world?
Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, yep, all that.
All right, sounds good. So
before I go, man, I got I don't know who it was, but no Nas slander will be tolerated.
We will not. No, we are not saying.
Not slander Nas. I don't want no beef. Okay. I don't want no beef.
I might have hopped in a little late, but yeah.
The discussion was that Nas won the Grammy, which is great. 30 years is a long time, right?
We were all A-okay for Nas.
We're okay with him winning.
Good job.
However, Freddie Gibbs' album was a lot better.
It was better.
But we're not mad at that. But this was like his Denzel Washington Training Day moment, where they skipped out on Malcolm X, they skipped out on Hurricane, they skipped out on Philadelphia. I mean, there's like a million great performing Denzel Washington films, but he won for Training Day, which isn't a bad film. And the same thing with King's Disease. It's not a bad album, but it's not. It was written. It's not. It's still Matic.
Right.
So
I agree with that.
That's
for
what
sure.
we're trying to point out. I would Sam, who's a lot younger than all of us, probably would not be tolerated to slander Nas.
No, I didn't. I good for Nas, man. I just wish they would have gave it to him for Stillmatic back in the day, and that's my issue with the Grammys in general. But the question on everybody's mind before you get out of here, man, is Bow Wow an influence of yours?
An influence of mine?
Yes.
Not of mine, but I know he is a very influential person for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man. Thank you.
If he's inspiring somebody, great. But
he's doing his thing. He did his thing.
Yeah, good for him. Shout to Chad Moss. All right, we're out of here. Sen, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
It's out there. Go check it out. It's a great listen to. We highly encourage you guys to subscribe and support it. Hopefully, have you back in the summer, or we can run into you. That'd be fantastic.
Definitely, I'm always down. Thank you guys.
All right.
Peace out,
later, man.
And that's going to be our time tonight on Weekend at Gabe's. We're going to hop off and get words on the Zoom so we can record our conversation with him, and then we'll post that up later today. Again, Friday night, join us here at 8 o'clock. Sham 1016 from the West Coast is going to be joining us from South Central LA. I've never been.
We love the West Coast, and we love South Central.
Pick Your Brain podcast. We got the Blue and Exile episode up from the West Coast. We just talked to Dart Adams, who is a hip-hop historian and researcher. He gave us so much game about the West Coast. It's stupid. And we did that episode over the weekend, so I'm hoping to have it to start editing Thursday, and we can get it up Friday. Nice. And then we're talking with the Grouch from Living Legends, which is one of the biggest underground hip-hop groups in LA or on the West Coast. So we're going to be talking with him this weekend. So we got a lot coming up on the Pick Your Brain podcast. So subscribe to that as well. But we're looking to Friday. And then also Gabe Ramirez, formerly of B96, is going to be joining us. Producer Gabe is going to be joining us.
Check out tomorrow, dropping on Audius.co, the new blockchain streaming platform, the new mix, episode 5, featuring a lot of Matty Woods, a lot of good music from a lot of Chicago artists. So check that out tomorrow. Also drops on SoundCloud. You can't check out all the plethora of episodes on SoundCloud. You can only check out the most recent one. But you can see all of the episodes on Audius.co if you download the app. Bye-bye.
There you go. Have a great Tuesday night, everyone. Stay safe. We'll talk soon.
Peace.